I'll tell you one thing, I really wish the motorcycles were quieter. Because if I tried to do a video like early in the morning, like it's just some idiot always racing around on a motorcycle. But that's not what this video is about. Well, also, yeah, and weed whackers too. I hate those things too. But anyway, I want to talk about like physical media for a minute because everybody else is talking about it. I know it's in regards to Sony, but I want to bring up some shows I have that were like before my time that I have on physical media. Like this right here is like the cartoon, the Superman. I think my grandpa grew on. This is from the 40s. Okay, I um had never really like I had stumbled across these at one time at a thrift store. Not this particular box set, but my mom had bought a pack of old black and white TV shows or old shows from the 50s, and the cartoon in it was the Shyster, how you pronounce her last name, Superman cartoon, and it had like these episodes in it. I think there's more to it than it, but this is just like one of the videos. But yeah, that was like my grandpa's Superman. That was the kind he grew up in. That was in the 40s or 30s. But if my mom would have bought that box set that had stuff like Red Skeleton and Petticoat Junction episodes, I would have never known about that version of Superman because I've always thought like Superman didn't get big until like the Christopher Reeve era. But then also in that same set of the DVD of black and white shows, um, you have this version of Superman. So I didn't know this was the thing either. So, because like the only Superman I had been exposed to at the time of my mom buying that box that was the Christopher Reeve. So yeah, and that's why I got my Superman shirt on today. Because I kind of like feel like I need Superman today. So yeah, and I bought these older Superman shows because they were what was on sale. You know, but because they have physical discs, someone like me who was not born when these came out could go back and watch the classic Superman. And you know, Lost in Space, they only rerun the color episodes on the Sci-Fi Channel when I was out of school sick with like my asthma and stuff. Because that's what I do when I was at home sick because I couldn't go to school because of my asthma. I'd sit down and watch the old classic shows like this on Sci-Fi Channel. The only ever rerun was a color episode, which I think was the third and fourth season. Um, but yeah, so that's how I found out about this show. And this is one of the things that got me into science fiction. And it was the same way I got into um well, this version of Batman. Or Batman was these reruns that were I don't think one's to come loose in there. There's something wrong with the box. I heard something running loose. Um yeah, there's one of these that copped off the spindle. I hear it. Which one was it? Um yeah, it's this one. Season 4 disc come loose somehow. Um oh, I do the problem is it's lined up the wrong way. I gotta fix this so it doesn't scratch. Hold on. Well, like I pick it up and one of the CDs pops loose. I don't think it's like going like that. And then this one's still going on top. And somehow they got these things in here the wrong way. Alright. There I got it. It snapped back in place. It's a little spindle stick, and if you tilt it the wrong way, someone will pop loose inside of there. Yeah, that's good now. Alright. Sorry about that. Something here with these spindle cases. But like I was saying, um, yeah, I wouldn't have ever known this version of Batman existed. And if you watch this and you watch the 1980, Michael Keaton movie, you're like, yeah, there's definitely a different Batman there. But that's all the stuff I have. Like, well, hold on, I got one more. I'll go to these next. Like this, these were in the '60s. This came out after Lost Space. Lost Space came out in the 50s. This came out in the 60s. So you have this, and this. And I didn't know this exists until I started getting Star Trek on DVD. This animated series, which was technically the fourth season. So, so I didn't even know that even existed until I started buying the discs. And like fans will dub that the fourth season of the animated series. So they didn't get 5 years, but they got four. Because like scripts that were made for the fourth season were used for the scripts for that. And then like I have a Wonder Woman box set, which is from the 70s. But like I said, if we didn't have physical media, people like me wouldn't have known about these past of these series. And then I got, oh, here it is. Then I got this. This was in the 70s. This is Galactica, Battlestar Galactica. So this came out in the 70s. So it's weird. Like the 70s had some 70s to 50s. You had the birth of some sci-fi series. The funny thing is, all the sci-fi shows that it's have you never had a conclusion to their story. Like sci-fi never really come into its own right. So that got a fourth season, but they did conclude the character's arc with the movies. This never really got a conclusion, but the reboot did. Same thing for Lost in Space. They didn't really do much with that. It didn't finish that story arc either. And then here's the conclusion to Kirk and the characters' stories. So these six movies, which Deep Space Nine did not get the same, and neither did Voyager. And then like you have, these guys, and I do not know which one of these is which. I just know my only experience with it is I didn't really see New Hope that much on HBO back in the day. The one I saw the most, um, was whichever one where he gets his hand cut off. I don't know which one that is. Is it this one or this one where he loses his hand? Because that's the one they played the most on HBO. Whichever one that is. So I don't know which one that is out of those two because I don't remember the title of it. But that's just the one HBO ran all the time back in the day. Same goes for this. This is from I think the 40s, I think, or 50s. So yeah, I mean they rerun this once a year, every year when I was growing up on CBS. So um, it's weird how it's rated G, but some of the stuff that's in it is kind of kind of gory, like the witch catching on fire. I mean, and some of the other stuff, I'd say should be PG, but I don't think PG exists at the time this was made. There are some movies that probably need to go back and re-rate. And then I have, this cartoons in the 70s, Josie and the Pussycats. And the only reason I got it is because I was like, well, I watched the Jim and the Holograms movie and cartoons, so I wanted to watch this. So that's why I got it, because I have the Jim and the Holograms and wanted to see how they did another music cartoon movie. Uh, Case in point, movies regarding around musical stuff like this, Jim and the Holograms and this both suck. The only cool movie I've seen around music stuff is like the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. And I've never seen Spinal Tap because I've never been able to find it. And then yeah, then you have this Gene Vermeer. This is rated G, but this should probably be again upgraded to PG as well. So this like terrible. They need to reclassify some of the stuff. And then I have Herbie, which there's supposed to be five of these old ones, but the fifth one like has an evil Herbie, an evil Volkswagen, but they say it's too degraded to recover. So there's that. And then there's, Convoy, older trucking movie. And then there's the Smokey and the Bandit, which I only thought there were three of these, but when I got the box, I was surprised how much was in here. Um, and then there's Duel, Steven Spielberg's first movie. But I'm just like I said, I'm just going somewhere with this. And then you have stuff like this where you have to be on drugs, just like Pink Floyd's The Wall, to figure out. And like I said, I don't know if Stanley Kubrick actually done drugs, but a lot of his movies, if you are not high, you are not going to be able to follow them, from what I've heard. And I thought Interstellar was going to be a cool movie because the special effects are cool. But then I heard it was like this, where you have to be high to make sense of it, and I have not watched it since I bought it. So yeah, shout out to directors who make movies fly high because no one can understand them. I wonder if you go back and watch, is it what's the second one in the Force Awakens? Is it called like The Last Jedi or something? I wonder if that's one of those movies where you have to be high to figure it out. I mean, heck, a lot of other movies that have weird plots seem to work that way. If your brain's fried, the movie makes more sense. Or maybe it's because the reality makes less sense. That's why you can understand the movie. Then I got, like I said, the Alien collection. So, like I said, I'm just bringing up these, and like I said, I just had like the other Star Wars and the stuff side, like the Alien versus Predator, and the other six Star Wars movies. So, like, but yeah, just like I don't know, just like point out all this old media. Like I said, I got movie media from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. You know, and these are all things before my time, and I get to enjoy them, and other people get to enjoy them because you can buy them on CD. And that's what my argument is we need CDs because they're time capsules. Because you can't always like go on streaming and watch, say, the 1960s Adam West Batman. West in peace, Adam West. But you know, and I think all the Lost in Space people are gone now. And I think William Shatner and like two other, I think like William Shatner, the guy that originally played, and the guy that originally played Chekhov, and the guy that played Sulu were the only ones still alive from that set too. So I think like it's weird that William Shatner. It's weird. He must be magic or something to be able to do some of the stuff he's doing in his 90s, I think. I don't know. They say he's got a horseshoe up his butt, but at least, like I said, we wouldn't know these actors' greatest works without these DVDs. Like, yeah, everybody knows Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker, but they wouldn't know the right version of Luke Skywalker unless they watched those original three films. Um, so what if one day, Disney decides to say throw Star Wars in their dungeon, their vault, whatever, for nobody else to see? Or is it like, oh, we're just gonna take the original six movies and never let anyone see them again? And if people don't have like I mean, these, like I said, these are the versions with the extra. I've never seen the original, like um the 1970s theatrical version of Star Wars. These are all I have, and I heard those are only on VHS, I think. Um, and the Star Trek that's on Blu-ray, those are modified as well. They have extra little things in them too, extra little modifications of them too. So my Star Trek and Star Wars aren't the original broadcast version or original release version, but the story's still there. The story's still intact, despite the little special effects CGI stuff that's in them. I mean, so, but the movies are the original versions of Star Trek. So, but just think about it. If we didn't have physical media, whole generations of people wouldn't know their past or the things their parents grew up on. Like think about it. People that were my grandpa, he's in his 90s, I think, 90s or late 80s. But I know what kind of cartoons he had just because I have this. This is just a sample of what kind of cartoons people in the 40s grew up on. Now, I know there's other things like Looney Tunes collections and stuff, which I don't have. Um, and like I said, also I know what kind of Star Wars they had in Superman they had in the 50s, and what kind of Batman they had in the 60s, and so on and so forth. But see, if these discs, if if my mom wouldn't have bought that box set full of 1960s shows, which were just random episodes of random series, like I said, I had this one cartoon, and they were in these little cardboard sleeves along with Petticoat Junction, something called Red Skeleton. My mom grew up on, which I never watched that. Um, and then a few episodes of the George Reed Superman and a few episodes of this. And they were all in these little sleeves in like a Dollar General or something. But I wouldn't have known those versions of the character if that box set of cheap DVDs from that time period didn't exist. And like I said, it was like 5 or 6 episodes for each one of these shows. I think there was another show in there too. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, the last disc, the other disc that had cartoons, had Popeye. It had black and white Popeye, along with a few episodes of Betty Booth. So yeah, and Betty Boop seems to be trending right now on shorts. People are making shorts about how crazy her cartoons were. But I don't have that little box set full of little mini episodes anymore. Those little episodes anymore. It'd be cool to have them, but I lost them when my mom's house went back to the bank. So that's why I'm just bringing this up. Physical media is important because they're like history books. I mean, are you gonna burn every history book that says America was founded in 1960, I know, 1662. Well, I don't even know the friggin' rhyme. It's weird. I heard it all the time growing up, but I can't remember it. But like, are we gonna just destroy our history of the species? Because entertainment history is important too. I mean, like the only way I think to watch GoBots is to play it on Tubi, but because my internet sucks, I can't get it to play. But yeah, that's just it. I just want to talk about history and preserving it. Because these kind of histories are important too, not just the history books, not just all the battles of Theopolis that they're making into crappy movies or whatever. There's other types of history important too. Our entertainment history is important as well. Movies, games. We need to save our history. Not just the kind that's on some not just the kind that's on some cave wall in, North Africa. We need to say this kind of history is important too. That's all I'm saying.